I still cannot believe this tweet is real, but it is. Ricardo Cardoso, somebody working on the commission over in Europe who is investigating the merger of Microsoft and Activision Blizzard, has expressed concerns about Call of Duty staying on his PlayStation. Oh my goodness. Uh, this is real. This is a real thing. Somebody over in Europe straight up publicly saying that they are sticking up for the billion-dollar corporation. Let's dive in right now. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Hit that subscribe button, hit that bell to know when my content goes live. I cannot believe this is real, but it certainly is. So Ricardo Cardoso said the commission is working to ensure that you will still be able to play Call of Duty on other consoles, including my PlayStation. Wow. Also on our to-do list, update stock pictures. These gamers have wired controllers, whereas Xbox and PlayStation have wireless ones since about 2006. I mean, yeah, if you want lower input latency, though, you go wired. Duh. He would know that if he was a real gamer. No, I'm just kidding. But anyway, this guy is the deputy head of unit. And it's a real account. It is a real account. I couldn't believe it. I thought that this was a parody for sure, because how could you so openly be defending one company over another? Your job is not to defend Microsoft. It's not to defend Sony. It is to look at what is best for consumers overall. And when you have concerns about games leaving my PlayStation, as you phrase it, that is a conflict of interest. You're directly calling out one specific platform holder, disregarding Nintendo, disregarding everything else, and sticking up for them. It's insane to me. And he got rightfully roasted for this. So basically, I said, good work allowing Xbox to do exactly what they told you they were going to do. And Microsoft has been clear since this was put in front of them that they want the game to continue to come out on PlayStation. They have no desire to make it exclusive. Everybody brings up the letter from back in January that never was public. Their public-facing statements have consistently been that it will remain on that platform. So Ricardo could have done this tweet in a way that didn't defend Sony, but he went all in and he said, "No, I'm gonna straight up just lay it out there. We are defending PlayStation, period." That's not what their job is. Their job is not about protecting PlayStation. It's about protecting consumers. So there is a way he could have phrased this to be like, we're looking out for the best interests of all consumers, but everything going on over in Europe has been very PlayStation heavy in terms of favoritism. And to see this just in plain text was very, very surprising to basically the entire industry. Sixers Octavian said, can you make sure I can still play Final Fantasy on my Xbox, or does that one not bother you? Calling out the fact that Sony has been partaking in practices that limit what Xbox gamers have access to, but they have no problem with that. But as soon as Microsoft has the opportunity to do something, they're like, all hands on deck, everybody. Tom Warren also calls out, Microsoft has been super clear about Call of Duty on PlayStation, but the European Commission continues to voice concerns. Apparently, those concerns also relate to my PlayStation in some cases. Tom, I think he's expressing that he has no words, as most of us don't. I see a lot of folks saying Microsoft should have a contract with Sony that guarantees COD on PlayStation forever. Why? That contract doesn't exist for Minecraft on PlayStation, nor does Sony have a contract to guarantee Destiny on Xbox. Now, I recognize Call of Duty is a larger franchise, but Tom makes a very good point. Why is Xbox being asked to sign contracts about Call of Duty when nobody else is being asked to sign contracts that are similar on those other platforms. And just to lay this out for you, again, if PlayStation lost every single cent of revenue from Call of Duty, they would still be the number one video game console company in the world. Number one in terms of revenue, I believe, is how that's constructed. But yeah, they're kicking butt right now, right? So it's strange to me that they would do this. Brad Sam says, I had to check 5 times to make sure this wasn't a fake verified account. My PlayStation doesn't scream fair and impartial. It certainly does not. So I think we can all see how this case is going to go should this go any further into the investigation. Tom Henderson, another person that covers gaming, says this account is verified because it's notable in government news, entertainment, and another designated category. And he has this shocked question. I don't know what I think the expression speaks for itself, but yeah, I think that's how we all reacted. Hogue Law, we've had him on the show where he said, doing the important work, I see, poking fun at the ridiculousness of it all. Might have missed a previous tweet of yours about it, but why do you think it isn't important to make sure COD remains multi-platform? Wouldn't Microsoft buying such a big game and making an exclusive be anti-competitive? It's anti-competitor. There's a big difference. Anti-competitor, which is the very heart of competition. It is not anti-competition for any reason I have seen so far. And that is the heart of it, right? PlayStation still has all their games. PlayStation's still going to be number one no matter how this shakes out. And people are jumping up to defend PlayStation in this. So let me run this by you. Let's what if this said the commission is working to ensure that you will only be able to play Call of Duty on Xbox. Also on our to-do list, his joke. Like, basically, if he had said the inverse of what he is saying here, people would have lost their frickin' minds. I also would have been like quite surprised if he would have phrased it that way, which is why everybody is so surprised about how he has decided to address it here. It's crazy. Jez Corden, he says, what are you doing about the exclusive Sony as market leader has kept from Xbox, PC, and Windows gamers? Nothing? Oh, okay. They don't care. They're not looking into how Sony is increasing the cost of their consoles in their territory or any of the practices that involve keeping games off of the competing platforms, including paying people to not release their games on Xbox or charging a crossplay tax. Ryan McCaffrey says, respectfully, sir, I'm not sure it gets any clearer than the head of Xbox's public statement on this matter from less than 2 weeks ago. It'll still be on your PlayStation. Don't worry. And it's absolutely ridiculous, these statements. Separately, I don't know if Tom knows something the rest of us don't, but he says, oh, it gets much clearer, but that's for next week. Absolutely ridiculous. I actually responded to Baz Alfredo, who said, he's just doing his job. If $1 trillion company buys another franchise which just made $1 billion in a week, I think it's fair they look at the deal closely. His job is not to protect PlayStation. And literally, that's the long and the short of what I needed to say to Baz. Their job is not to protect one brand over the other. Nobody else has expressed concerns about this except for PlayStation and PlayStation fans, right? But the question at the end of the day is this actually anti-consumer? Will this have a detriment on the quality of Call of Duty? Will this have a detriment to the franchise or the people who work on Call of Duty? And the answers to both of those questions are no. There's no indication that would happen. I actually have open the letter about what they're concerned about. So let's read that really quick. The Commission's preliminary competition concerns. The Commission's preliminary investigation shows that the transaction may significantly reduce competition on the markets for the distribution of console and PC video games, including multi-game subscription services and our cloud game streaming services, and for PC operating systems. Now, they revisit this later in the article, and this is the one that was quite surprising. Finally, at this stage of the investigation, the Commission has concerns that the proposed acquisition may reduce competition on the market for PC operating systems. Interesting. In particular, the Commission is concerned that Microsoft may reduce the ability of rival providers of PC operating systems to compete with Microsoft's operating system Windows by combining Activision Blizzard's games and Microsoft's distribution of games via cloud game streaming to Windows. I don't think you understand how cloud game streaming works. I was quite shocked that this was written in here. This is an iPhone running Halo Infinite. This works on my Steam Deck and Linux. This works on my MacBook. And yeah, the game is running right now in real time. You can play on other operating systems. What are they even talking about with this statement? They're concerned about the distribution of games via cloud game streaming to Windows. You can cloud game stream to anything. It's on Samsung televisions. What are you talking about? Like, the EU and the CMA look like absolute clowns in this situation, and this statement makes them look corrupt and awful. It makes them look absolutely terrible. And I think I missed one from Hoglaw, who said the following. Is there any actual recourse to a statement like this? Like, can Microsoft use this as evidence in an appeal if they take the CMA to court? I suspect it will come up if this dude's real. Does it make the case? No, but it makes the Commission look absolutely awful. It really does. It makes them look awful. It makes them look like they're one-sided and not acting in the best interest of the consumer at all. Like, you can't list one console manufacturer when making a statement like that. It's ridiculous. So anyway, we read the first statement. In particular, the Commission is concerned that by acquiring Activision Blizzard, Microsoft may foreclose access to Activision Blizzard's console and PC video games, especially to high-profile and highly successful games, so-called AAA games such as Call of Duty. Xbox has said since the announcement of this that Call of Duty plans to be a multi-platform game. And they've said it incredibly clear, especially in the last few weeks. So that concern is moot. Now, if they plan to make some sort of consent decree or something, that has been expected since I've been talking about this. But it's absolutely crazy here to see that in writing in their statement. The preliminary investigation suggests that Microsoft may have the ability, as well as a potential economic incentive, to engage in foreclosure strategies vis-a-vis Microsoft rival distributors of console video games, such as preventing these companies from distributing Activision Blizzard console video games on consoles or degrading the terms and conditions for their use of or access to these video games. Oh, you mean like taking a beta and making it launch exclusively on your platform, or having exclusive content, or having just exclusive Call of Duty things only on one platform? You know, like PlayStation has been doing for the last 5 years. Are you concerned that Microsoft might do that? Where were you when all of this was happening with Sony? Where were you before this purchase was happening and these things were happening that were anti-Xbox? Suddenly you're jumping to the defense of Sony because, God forbid, Microsoft gets a leg up in the competition, or at least evens out the competition. Honestly, whatever happens with this deal, it's just going to be interesting to watch how things unfold. I hope it goes through because I do believe, honestly and truthfully, I believe that will be what's best for Activision employees who have dealt with too much bullshit over the last few years. I think that's going to be what's best for gamers in the long run, because I think it's going to force Sony to do things that are better for their customers, because they're going to be forced to do things that make them stay on top including offering you better value in their services. And Microsoft will have a very killer portfolio for Game Pass, which has been clearly their goal for many, many years. But to see the EU straight up come out and say, we're worried about my PlayStation, basically stating that they're worried about PlayStation, clearly, it's concerning. And I think it's concerning for legitimate reasons. Let me know what you think, though, in the comments below. This was quite shocking to see on Twitter. And while I have you here, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell. I got one other video you could check out. You can check out the CMAs thing that I went over in length. And before I let you go, thank you so much to all the members. I really, really appreciate you supporting me. I know the last few weeks have been sort of spotty, but it is nice to get a story like this that I actually care about. If you want to support this channel, click that join button. And here is that video that I told you about where I talk about what the CMA has said versus the European Union. And that is it for today. Hit that subscribe button, hit that bell. I'm going to get out of here, and I'll see you for the next one. Bye for now, everybody.